Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope you're well. I hope you had a good week. I hope you had a good time. I hope you had a good time. I trust everybody was warm.
You can see I got
this,
triple layers
cold
on here.
weather. It was cold, freezing. But as you see, it's only me and not Preston tonight. But I've got a nice standing co-host with me tonight, Mr. Mark Jacobs himself.
Good evening.
From We Are Proudly. So, Mark, how was your week, sir?
It was blessed, thank you. How was yours?
It was busy, eh? I think I had like a few days where I was almost chill,
Yeah.
but lekker, but I was going, I was moving, it was lekker. Then there was a couple of like days where it was just, we didn't
Maka. Posts.
like, why do you give me that day, like spread it out of the week and not one heavy, but it was nice, so, but it was a lekker chill week, lekker chill, and also just condolences to the families.
Yeah.
That lost their 5 kids in Mitchell's Plain, AZ Berman. It was tragic, like, yeah, just again, stuff like that happened. Don't share videos, people, like, just, yeah, because it was someone
Yeah.
else.
Spare your thought, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Can't be
it was-
easy. Just us.
Otherwise, besides your week was lekker, tell me about what was going on. What has Mark been about since the last time he was on?
Chika, I'm known for catching on cuck, man. Right?
So just in general.
This is in general. No toilet paper, fly by. I do whatever needs to be done, bro. I got no time for stories. But look, we're scuttling hard. Making sure the dream works. That's something very cool yesterday. One team, one dream.
One team, one dream.
Yeah, one
Boy,
team,
boy.
one dream. I was like, that is an amazing
One team,
saying.
one dream.
Thank you to Debs for that saying. I was like, wow, okay, awesome.
So listen, they don't know where we are.
So that's their
They
problem.
don't know what we're doing. They don't know who's on tonight.
Yeah.
This was like this morning. We were chatting to a buddy, and you had a meeting in the week.
Yes.
And we're like, why don't we shoot it tonight? So I'm like, okay, let's do it tonight. Let's go through. So we're out here in Maitland. We got Urban Playground, and we got one of the big bosses in the house tonight.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna allow you to introduce him, and then you can just come and we can have a little chat. We're gonna talk about what he's been doing, his story, and his endeavors, and everything that he's doing on his side. Because it's amazing. Like just where we're at is amazing. To see that we have this happening in Cape Town.
Yeah. Okay, hidden gem. Yeah, I got to meet Peter and his wife Debs earlier in the week through another mutual contact. He said you have to come and see what is going on here. I think it's in your realm of what it is you're busy with. As you know, we've got a good relationship with some of the School of Skills that we've been working with, and this sort of just fitted right in there. So Peter can go into his own story about just his journey and what he had to face. And I think that adversity is something that we all can resonate with very strongly. When we come from these points in our lives where we be told, you can't do this.
Yeah.
What? It's a mole on your cup. You know what I mean? All that sayings of negativity. And I think part of the campaign that we're doing with in Gamla and Terenzo, Skin is Just a Color. At the end of the adversity, it doesn't ask questions about where you're from, who's your mommy, who's your daddy. It's about you as an individual. And whatever comes from that determines your next steps. And I think what his story is very on point with where I'm in my own life right now, with the type of journeys that I'm looking at taking, and having people like Peter on board to be that sort of reminder or the GPS. I've been there. This is the way forward. This is how we can go about doing things. I think it's important for everyone's journey at this point in time.
So it's cool. It's but we're gonna let you let him tell it.
Yeah, please.
So let's introduce him, ladies and gentlemen, the man himself. So I'll introduce him as Chef Peter
Ayud. Yeah.
Preston, Mark.
Welcome to meet.
I'm Javon. Preston is at home. What's Preston doing? Preston was working late.
Okay.
Spray painting.
But Chef, thanks for being on the show tonight. Yeah, no, you're good. Thank you for being on the show. I know it's like super short notice, but apparently according to your wife, this is normal. You have no problem speaking.
Yeah, I'm not shy when it comes
Yeah.
to live stuff.
To say the least.
So what I need you guys to do is just ask me questions and I'll
Yeah, no, cool.
direct you in the path that I might
Yeah,
lead
so,
in,
so,
where's
so
going.
from the beginning, what was your, where does your story start? What was your, like, you're obviously a chef, what was your, the push, like, listen, I actually want to cook food, or was it just cooking food, or was it like, I have a passion with it?
I don't have any romantic stories about cooking with my grandmother when I was 3 years old.
Okay, cool.
or anything
So,
like that, you know.
That's out of the way, yeah.
But when I was at school, I either wanted to become a chef or play professional sport. That was my two things in life. I was a pretty good football player, but I was way too slow. But I did very well at ice hockey. I managed to play semi-pro overseas for quite some time.
Okay.
So I did very well at ice hockey. But my real hardship came at school level. And this is the first time that I'm actually coming out live and letting people know about my disabilities.
Okay.
So, some lady pissed me off about 3 weeks ago, telling me how stupid I am that I spelled something wrong. And I just lost it. And I just thought, you know what? It's time for me to tell people that just because you can't spell doesn't mean that you can't succeed in life.
Yeah.
And I felt like, if someone didn't have a leg, you're not going to say, oh my God, you've only got one leg. So it's a disability, and it's actually a hard disability because people can't see it, and it's not so it's a lot harder. And ADHD as well, it's something that is really look, today the kids are very lucky. There's these wonderful schools of skills and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little bit older than both of you.
Not put together.
So our education was the most shocking education I think you could ever imagine. It was based on Christianity, regardless of your religion. It was based on white. I mean, I only found out who the ANC was. I did my 2 years national service. I then went to London, and I only then found out who the ANC was.
What year was that though?
Yeah, what? So that was obviously like just pre-apartheid type of thing?
No, it was about 87.
Okay.
87. Okay. And I was sitting down and someone played me the song Free Nelson Mandela. And I was like, who is Nelson Mandela?
Wow.
So that is how scary, we talk about, and I love, like you love Debbie's little saying, one team, one dream.
Yeah.
You're saying the other day, skin has no color. No
Yeah.
color. And I mean, it really is. It's just, and until we realize as a nation we all are one, it's never going to happen, and it really is. We are such a beautiful nation. We really, if we all work together, we can really achieve something. But I think people also need to, especially with the disabilities and ones that aren't actually visual, need to understand that, I mean, I've succeeded in life. I had to go and do a technical matric because I couldn't pass most of my subjects, and I was still bad at it because I couldn't put stuff together. I was telling Mark the other day that every single day at school I used to get a hiding, like canes. Because I was naughty. All they recognized was I was naughty, I didn't listen, I wouldn't pay attention. So no one ever thought, hang on, this kid's actually got a problem.
Yeah.
So all that they said was, I'm just not a good guy. And my parents weren't educated enough to understand my hardships either. So I didn't have that. I think as well, if I was a little bit brighter, if I was a little bit more street savvy, because we had to do our 2 years military, I would have rather, because we had a choice, 5 years going to jail or 2 years military. So as a young 18-year-old boy, I thought, okay, let's go to 2 years off. So we didn't even know what we were fighting for. I mean, the whole thing's not documented. I mean, we're one of the weirdest countries in the world. Our history is so, with regardless of color, you don't know what the history is. I mean, it's really...
It's mixed. Do
you agree with me?
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I remembered my Afrikaans, it was my history teacher, but she was very Afrikaans, and she was telling me about the Boer War. And she was telling me, okay, so there was, I can't remember, like 200 odd white Afrikaners with front-loaded rifles, and they killed 2 million Zulus or whatever. And I was like sitting there, I was going, how? And she goes, what do you mean how? They prayed, God was on their side. I was like, well, why was God on their side? You know?
Questioning.
And they couldn't understand the fact that here's someone that's not an A student, but I needed to understand.
You're asking the
things.
questions.
And the same as religion. I got kicked out of church because I sat with my parents thought I was the worst kid ever, because here's me getting kicked out of church because I said to the priest, why must I confess to you? You in the book it says that Jesus died for your sins, so you don't need to now confess to anyone else. You can confess direct. But now I'm sitting in a box. Who are you? What are you going to do? And they were like, oh my God, like this guy's crazy, you know? And my whole life's been like that. And
I love it.
Disruptive.
I love it because you question the norm.
Yeah.
Like what was normal, it's the status quo, that's just how things should be. And you're like, well, why? And like coming here, I see the questions. I can see how you were like, no, I'm gonna do that.
But also, can you understand? Like, there's certain things in life, like they've got to put a reason to it. You can't just accept.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, when I met Mark the other day, I was so excited, and I'm so excited to do this because moving forward, I really want people with the same disabilities as me understanding that they can achieve. I mean, we've built one of the best schools in Africa.
Sure.
Myself and my wife, and then Byron joined us when he was 18. He came as a little kid. He's now nearly 30. He's a big boy.
He's grown so quickly.
Yeah, he's still ugly.
I can't go.
He's ugly, he can barely cook. And,
Wow.
But he's okay.
Ja, hij was net zo klein die andere dag. Nou was hij zo... Anyway.
So, I think, look, so I went overseas, I came back.
So where were you all traveling?
Well, my main thing was in Scotland, so I spent time in Scotland.
Oh.
Worked in London a bit, but in those days having a South African passport was like having the worst kind of disease possible. You know, no one accepted you. I mean, I'll never forget it. I used to go to a pub and I'd order a draft, or a pint as they say, give me a pint. And the guy, because in those days there weren't many South Africans traveling, because we could only get a three months holiday visa, and then we just got lost in the system. But anyway, so I would ask the barman for a pint. I mean, now there's more South Africans than British people, but you know, so, and the guy would say, wow, that's a strange accent, where are you from? So I said, South Africa. And the first thing they'll say to me, what do you think of black people? And I was like, I've sat down here, you don't know me, and you know what my answer was? They're cool, but I hate whites. And the guy just looked at me, and they used to think, what is wrong with this man? And
Skin is just a color.
Do you know, when I was playing ice hockey overseas, they said to me, I'll never forget this, the one guy said to me, you're from Africa? And I was like, yeah. He says, how come you can speak English? So I said, no, I'm just a quick learner. And he was like, oh wow. Okay.
Well done. Well
And
done.
then he said to me, but how did you learn to skate in Africa? So I said to him, mate, your ice rink, okay, what makes the ice? There's no electric machines. I said, is it indoor? Yes. I said, so why can't that be in Africa? Oh yeah, right. I mean, just because it's hot and sunny in Africa, they didn't think we could have an ice rink. You know,
Yeah.
that's how small the world was. You know, it was so close up. I mean, now we've got all these TV channels and everyone knows everything, and we have all the social media and all that kind of thing. But and I was saying to Mark the other day, with my disability of not being able to spell, it's really been hard because I've had to conduct business. I've created this with my wife, and we have got a serious business.
Yeah, this is proper.
This is proper. Mickey Mouse.
No, to one time.
I mean, this. If you look at this kitchen now, with thick, and it's so funny. When Debs and I started this, we got these two little gay guys in Franschhoek, and they were so creative, and they came up with the name Sense of Taste, and we did everything and all that. And then I said, okay, cool. Websites were just coming out then, so I said, okay, let's shoot our first website. Cool. So we got the little table, everything, and they said, okay, let's do this. I said, okay, what? They were like, no, we need to cook. I'm like, what? So they said, well, I don't know anything. Hang on. Went to Pick and Pay in Franschhoek, bought myself a pan, a spoon, or whatever, because we had nothing. And we started with a little pan, and we started cooking, and we did our whole website just with this little thing. And then business started getting better and better and better, and I'm very fortunate. I did a private dinner for Nelson Mandela.
Wow.
That's my biggest claim to fame. I'll never ever forget that as long as I live. I've cooked for Bono, Jay-Z, Beyonce,
Just us levels.
Robbie Williams, Simply Red, Mick Hacknell from Simply Red.
It's almost like, don't name drop.
Yeah.
But please do, because I want to know. I really do want to know.
Jason Tutu, amazing man.
But how did all of that come about, though?
It came about because one or two people started talking about the quality of my food.
Awesome.
Okay, so I do have, and believe it or not, even with my disabilities, I've got 3 diplomas in chefing,
Okay.
which I managed to do. You know, so what made it a lot easier was multiple choice. I found it was a lot easier because I could actually do that. Same as my driver's license. People don't understand how difficult it is for people with these learning disabilities. I mean,
So you are dyslexic.
I'm dyslexic and ADHD.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing is as well, I mean, when you, so a normal kid goes for their driver's or learner's license, they panic. Now, can you imagine us guys? I mean, it's like... It's
Amplified,
like yeah, it's like someone's going to kill you, you know? So it really is... it was difficult, as I say, and now there's corrective text. Geez, we didn't have that. You know, it's wonderful. Corrective text is wonderful. So at least my stuff goes out like 80% okay.
No,
you know,
lekker. Well done.
They'll never know.
They'll never do. But,
Well
but
done.
you know, I'll never forget this. And I used to have a business partner many years ago. And I'll never forget sitting at the table and she just said, I can't believe people are so stupid that they can't spell. And I just sat there because I never opened up about it. And I sat there and I thought, you know, I can do so much more than you can in life. Spelling is not the most important.
Important
It
for
doesn't
you, yeah.
define you at all.
Yeah. So, yeah, sorry, I'm talking. I mean, what?
No.
Yeah, but
This is
that's why you're here. We want to know. So
all about you.
cook for Bono and Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Okay, and then I did a lot of TV stuff. I did Espresso for probably 10 years, morning show, which was great. I worked, in those days Espresso was amazing. It was such a great team, Kakeko and Leanne and Zoe and it was and we had the French Bulldogs, I don't know if you guys remember, and it was a loft in town.
Yeah,
it was really cool. It wasn't an advertising like it is today, and
it was more authentic than...
yeah, it was awesome. It was like a show, and we had a good relationship, and we cooked nice things. And then it got to the stage where it became, okay, now Pete, tell them that this is the best olive oil. I'm like, no, bro, you're not paying me, and this is a cuck olive oil, so I can't do this, you know. And I've always been that kind of chef. I only do what I believe in. I won't punt someone if I don't believe in what they're doing. So that's why when you guys came along, I thought, who else to share my story with? With guys who understand and work with people that have the same disabilities as what I have, and we together can actually make a difference.
No, I think it's a fair point. I mean, if you know Zen, if you know Ron, each of them have their own disabilities as well. Ron unfortunately had his stroke. Zen also has ADHD. But I mean, these are the two most, they push on regardless of the situation. And I think it's that adversity that they go through that just sort of bolster their sort of their space in life, you know. I suppose not to make it an issue to keep it back, but also just a way of moving forward regardless.
But I think, you know, I've had to probably try 3 times as hard as anyone else to actually make a success because of what I can't do.
So what was what was the point where you guys decided, like, this is what we want to do? We're going to start this thing, and
well,
because there must be a drive to push you to say, like, listen, I'm going to do this. I'm starting old school. I'm starting my own kitchen.
Well, the school came up. We were doing this private chefing, and we were doing small little private dinners. And I hate the word catering because to me, catering is some honey working out of her garage, you know. So everyone was like, okay, Sense of Taste, a catering company. And it was like, no, we are fine foods for festive gatherings. We're not a catering.
Okay,
That's us.
And we started doing huge stuff. I mean, we were doing functions for 1,500 people. We did the Istanbul Fashion Week in Istanbul.
Wow.
5 days, 4,500 people a day. Ooh. So we really did big numbers, but also finesse big numbers, you know, not just...
So what is your style of cooking? Like, do you have a specific style, or you just
Well, I'm very French classic trained.
Okay.
Love of Asian fusion to it. And I love good old mom's cooking. So I have a mixture of, I don't fuss with food. I believe a lot of chefs create these flamboyant dishes because they can't actually impress you with something straightforward. You know, just if I can give you a piece of fish, some steamed vegetables, and some baby potatoes, and a beautiful sauce, and you can walk away or come back and say to me, "Oh my God, that was so good! I want to come back." Now that to me is cooking.
Yeah.
It's not
Well
about
done.
having these plates and froths and foams, and it's confusing people because they walk away because they don't have food, and they go, "Oh my God, you've got to go there because it's just incredible." And you
So
just
the
walked
drama-
away paying $3K for a load of crap, you know.
Is it true that you can cook to ensure that somebody's senses almost that they don't want to eat again, or that doesn't make them as hungry once they're eating, once they're done eating?
I've never heard that before. Have you, Shitby?
I'm always perfectly done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
of the
must-
way it's prepared, it's almost like you don't get hungry as quick after the meal.
I think it's what you. I think it's how it's balanced in the sense of what you're eating.
Okay.
So you need obviously the grammage of like protein to starch and that kind of thing. There is actually measurements to it. Us South Africans, a 400 gram steak is just it's
So by the
supposed to be
way-
120 to 150 grams. Then your protein's enough, but not us. You know what I mean? We want that. We want that big
Ordentlik.
T-bone on the brine.
The onbeskofte ones.
Yeah.
Okay. No, because buddies of mine are chefs, and I know there was one day when I ate something and I wasn't hungry again till the next morning because of the
Was it so bad or?
No, it was so good because it was bits of everything.
Yeah.
It was just bits of everything that was on the plate, and it was so lekker, and I was like, okay, not quite. But I just couldn't eat anymore after that.
But you know, the interesting thing about food is what most people don't know is seasoning is salt, pepper, and lemon juice. So it's not about adding coriander or that is spicing it up and flavoring it. But so those seasonings, what they do is they actually bring out the natural flavor of foods.
Okay.
So if someone says, and this often happens, I'll say to a chef, but you didn't season your steak. Some people don't like salt. It's not about liking salt. If you season it well,
It's part of the
just gonna
process.
it's just going to be flavorsome. If it's too salty, that means you've over-seasoned it. But literally nothing should ever, the section between the kitchen and the restaurant, we call it the pass.
Yeah.
Nothing should ever pass there without being seasoned, whether it's a salad, a steak, you name it. It should always
Salt,
be
pepper.
And that's the basics: salt, pepper, lemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's king. That's what cooking's about. Right? Temperatures, salt, pepper, lemon juice.
Okay. Urban Playground. How did that come about?
It's a beautiful story. I used to have a few restaurants and we closed them down and I concentrated on the school
In South Africa.
in South Africa. I used to own Clifton Beach House on 4th Beach. Yeah.
Okay.
So we did huge numbers there. And then we bought Bertie's Landing in 1998 and we
Oh,
turned
nice
it
one.
into Doc's Restaurant.
Hmm?
And yeah, we used to do about 900 covers a day there. It was big. I learned a lot of high pressure. I mean, it was crazy. My
Damn.
wife in those days was an MD of an incentive incoming into South Africa. No. She had finished that. She was the sales and marketing director of the Cape Grace Hotel. So that's why we work so well together. She does the marketing and all that. She has that finesse. Obviously the typing without the spelling mistakes. And then
She helped you with the admin.
she helped me with the admin.
Blessing.
So, and then what the hardest thing of our life with Sense of Taste was when it got so big, we had to make a decision. Do I bring someone in or does Debbie leave her business and come and join me? So
Okay.
that was the decision we made and we've never looked back. It's been absolutely wonderful. So, urban playground. So what happens, everything was rosy. We hear someone dies in Japan from some flu in December. Debbie made a call about 2 weeks before national lockdown. She said to all the students, we are closing for a little bit. I don't know how she got it in her head, but she said, okay, we're closing for 2 weeks. Let's just see what happens.
Inside
and during
info.
that 2 weeks, we then had the world lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay. Luckily, me, I don't drink anymore, but I used to drink like a cowboy. And so me and Byron, we bought everything, man. We cleaned out the bottle store. We bought bottles of brandy and cases of beer, and we were sorted, man. Deb's had her wine and her champagne. And anyway, we sat on the couch, and Byron owns his little place up the road here. We said, nah, you can't be yourself. Come and live with us for that time. So we were sitting on the couch and we were drinking and everything was, the first few days was lekker. And then it's like,
2 years later.
Yeah. So anyway, so then during the second lockdown, we had run out of beer. Okay.
Bummer.
Which was terrible for us. I mean, anyway. So we managed to get hold of Maitland Cat, and Debbie did all that. And what they gave us was passes to leave home to come here to cook for a shelter. And the shelter that we did it for were for abused children. Okay.
Where's the shelter? What's the name of the shelter?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you've got Garden Village Old Age Home, and
Okay.
what's the shelter's name in Athlone?
It's realistic. It's called realistic.
Really? Okay.
It's-
Okay. And we're still doing them today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So anyway, so the three of us got here and we started cooking a little bit, and we were doing about 50 meals a day and sending it out, and everything was cool. At least we weren't sitting on the couch. And then another three guys. It was Simon, Basil, Basil's still with us today downstairs, and Kyle. So Simon and was Simon also at Public Club? So that all our students got retrenched, ex-students. So I called the three back. I said, listen, I can get you passes. At least you can get out the house, come and do something, whatever. So that we started cooking. And then, while we were doing this, I said to Debs, I said, why don't we open a restaurant? She was like, sorry? I was like, here's COVID, every restaurant's closed, and here's Peter saying, let's open a restaurant. And she was like, no. So then I called Byron. I said, Byron, I said, let's open up a restaurant.
Something small.
Something
that's you.
small.
Something small.
So he's like, do you think it's a good idea? I said, yeah. I said, why not? Let's
Why
do it.
not?
So then I called Basil and the other guys. I said, listen here, guys, look, I know you guys are probably going to go back to potluck one day or whatever. I said, but should we open up a restaurant? Basil was the chef, because Basil's the cutest guy ever, man. He came to me, I think when he was 17, grade 10 or something. He came here for our open day, and he came here and said, I'm coming to study here when I finish school. So I was like, okay, cool. I forgot about him. Anyway, then he came like 2 years later. He's here. He says, "See, I told you." I'm like, "Sorry, who are you?" It's like, I told you I was here 2 years ago, and I told you I'm coming. I'm like, "Okay, cool, Basil."
And he's here
So
ever
then,
since.
so he did his 2 years, and then in his internship he went to potluck, and then he said, "Chef, I'm going there, but I'm coming back to work with you." He says, "I'm never leaving you." So I was like, "Oh fuck." Okay, so that's Basil for the rest of my life. Anyway, so what happened? I then said to Chef Byron and Chef Basil, I said, listen here guys, let's open the restaurant. I'll pay for everything. I'll give you 15% shares in the business.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Okay, so, and what we created is something incredible, because it's what they call a dark kitchen, or what we call a dark kitchen. There's no front of house, it's just a kitchen. Our kitchen's bigger than our dining room, which is the only restaurant in the world. So we only seat 35 people. Our kitchen's massive. We play rock and roll music.
It's a vibe.
It's about house, dirty rap, you name it. Depends on our crowd. Whoever's here, we change it up. We play, and we just have fun. We don't scream at each other. There's no shouting. There's no swearing. Well, we swear, but not at each other.
Yeah.
And
Maybe.
and it's just been wonderful. And you know what it is? It's because everyone wants to be there. So
Yeah.
all the staff are
That's
really happy, because I treat them with respect. Byron treats them with respect. And it's just, you know what? Cooking is an art. Cooking is love. Cooking is passion. You shouldn't have that anger.
It's an extension of
self.
self,
Anger
yeah.
when you're cooking, why do it?
Because it started from lockdown when everybody needed something. Right? Listen, when you come here, and myself and Mark was the first thing, and I told Chip about this. I said, Byron look happy.
Yeah.
Like, because normally it's like, I mean, it's not as if it's like 2 o'clock.
Yeah, he's open.
And he came look happy, and I'm like, this dude is like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe it's just him. And then I'm like, okay, maybe it was.
Maybe he had a bit of a story there.
And then he came up, and then the other guys started coming. I'm like,
Do you know how many times you asked for coffee? 4 times.
and I'm like,
In
okay,
half an
like,
hour.
Yeah,
Did somebody get your coffee?
You guys
Did somebody sort your coffee out? Did
But-
somebody get your coffee? I'm like, mate, bro.
But
really?"
it's so, and I think that was a big thing. You felt so welcome.
Respect for that,
and
yeah.
it was a restaurant, but you feel almost like home. Like you came, and that was just to me as.
So then what happened was, sorry to interrupt you. So what happened was Simon and Kyle So Byron's my number 2. Byron's my adopted son. Byron, he's my main man.
Awesome.
So we overlooked Urban, but we employed Kyle to run it because he had been a potluck for 2 or 3 years. So he had like good, some good skills. Anyway, he was so moody and everything, and it just didn't work. Anyway, so then we promoted Basil up. We said, okay, Basil, you take over. Okay. Then Simon decided to leave. Then I said, okay, now we're short of staff. What do we do? And then I said to Byron, let's work in the community. Let's find out who needs us more than anyone else. So we then gave guys with either learning disabilities, financial problems, social problems, and that's what Urban's team's
Amazing.
about. So we've created this. We pay them a stipend every month, which comes out of our pocket, myself and Deb's, and all the tips as well. So they get paid well. They, after 4-year program, will get the same qualification as what these guys get. They pay 150,000 Rand for the course. So it's good. And as I spoke to Mark and them, I'm now looking for the next 2 that we can start moving into the next thing. And, from this little interview, if I can just get it across to anyone, no matter what, whether even though it's white, I didn't come from money. I didn't, and like you say, skin has no color. It's so important to know. If you want it, you can do it. You can succeed. There is no reason, no one can stop you if you really want it.
No, of course, 100%. 100%. But for you, through the adversity, has there always been sort of a reset of yourself? Sometimes we go through trauma, then we need to find a way to get through that trauma.
You know what? I was embarrassed my whole life. I was embarrassed my whole life about my disability. Like I said, you're the first guys that I'm telling. And whoever hears this podcast is going to be the first people out there that are actually going to know. And to me, it's a big thing. I'm 55 years old, and I'm finally coming out because people need to know this. People need to know that just because you physically can't see someone's disability doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
And it's everything, and it's just, just be nice, be kind. Yeah. And that's what, like with our feeding program, we're now doing 1,500 people a week, which is incredible. Still funded by ourselves. SA Pork help us with about 800 meals a week. SA Harvest help us with vegetables, but the rest is funded by us.
That's amazing.
And what we've made is our students that pay this good money for a great course, we make the feeding program first thing in the morning, so they have to prep it. So it's actually done with passion, love, and nutrition.
Love it.
And then, so it's not an afterthought, because you can imagine young kids, I've learned today, now I've got to go and cook for 2 hours for
Do that first and then go cook.
And that's what we've done. And we have seen the skill level of our students increase tremendously, because now they're learning learning to give back. I always said, you can just help one person. And I'm not a saint. I'm a fucking... I've probably damaged more people in life than anything. But what I'm saying is...
You're confessing tonight.
Yeah, just
names and numbers.
Dave's like, oh my word, why is he saying that?
If all of us can just help one person around us, it's all it takes.
That's
I love
important.
it because, sorry Mark, because you mentioned about passion, but you're speaking about humanity, and you can sense it when you come in. Like it's a thing of like, it's genuine. There's a genuineness to, it's a restaurant. I thought we were going to shoot there, and I came and like, no, come up here, and I'm like,
how beautiful is that kitchen?
Say what? No, that's a small office.
So just hold on.
And I'm like, what?
When did you meet him, Byron?
I actually, but I saw him. I saw his face, man.
Where?
But I've got his girlfriend is a friend on Facebook.
Okay.
So I'm like, I always see the two
One
of
of
them.
his girlfriends.
We can't edit this though. We can't edit this though.
That's another show.
Yeah, that's not the show, but
Cherry.
So I saw his face and all that stuff, and then obviously through the School of Skills, and then I was like, okay, he's doing his thing. And then there was a couple of videos I saw of you guys partying here in the kitchen and
nice one.
having a lekker gears and going on, and then I was like, okay, cool. But then coming here, I was like, whoa, it goes on.
Yeah, it's
Like
amazing.
it's not like these trees.
Yeah,
it's
you-
like a
you know what,
it's
everyone-
amazing.
And this is the stigma about everything, whether it's color, whether it's, I mean, Maitland. It's like people go, oh my God, this is Maitland. I'm like, what's wrong with Maitland? You know, it's beautiful. It's the most central area in the Western Cape.
Just an address.
But, what people don't understand, Maitland was actually the hub of food. The market, this is where food generated to the whole of Africa.
Wow.
Was in Maitland. That's why if you take all our freeways, it's literally 2 or 3
Basically
minutes.
comes around on this circle.
Absolutely. So when I was doing the functions, where better to buy a kitchen was in Maitland.
Yeah.
Because I could literally, if I get into my car, I don't own a car.
Lucky
I've got a
man.
motorbike. But anyway, so if I get on my bike and I ride to town, I can be in the center of town in 5 minutes
Yeah.
from Maitland.
Yeah.
And I'm talking even peak hour traffic. So that's how central we are.
Yeah, but you got a bike.
It's,
you just like-
it's bigger than a car, bro. It's like
Okay.
BM 1250.
Ooh, big boy.
Big way, yeah.
Okay.
I could
It's not
do
easy
it.
to go between cars. It's like, yeah. So anyway, but really, I love this area, and you know something. What we've done is we help the community. So we feed the people around us: Kensington, Factorington, Maitland, Brooklyn, Garden Village. I support all the people, the electricians in the area, the butchers in the area. To me, it's a community, and you know, I think we forgot that when these big supermarkets came around, and we forgot about communities. We forgot about
Supporting
the
the
little
local, yeah.
cheese shop and the butcher and the greengrocer, and you know, we used to form relationships with them, and we used to know what we were buying. Nowadays, you just, you know, it's this. Anyway, as a chef, it's sad. I liked it when we had that relationship with the
It's like
small
the
guy.
French culture.
Absolutely.
Mark, you had a question or you were?
No, I think it's just what's important to note that you didn't allow your disability to disable you from your journey and take you from your path. I mean, just reflecting on my own journey and the things that I've been through. People say, "Why Maitland?" I was part of a company called Vanikap, and we had a store in Woodstock. But where the store was located, it wasn't prime in any way because it was across from the old biscuit mill.
Okay.
But this little arcade only get traffic on a Saturday, and because our store was there, became a destination because of the value that we were adding in that space, and they loved us there because of the value.
But that's exactly what's happened with us. People are like, "Oh my God, this is like bougie in Maitland," you know, which is
Shock and awe, I say, shock and awe, disrupt.
Disrupt it, yeah. Miss people's
That was the word of the day, disruptive.
Like, I mean, if you are in Maitland, come around, Urban Playground, check it out, and then just say, can I check Sense of Taste? And come and see what's happening here, because like you're saying, it's one of the biggest schools in Africa.
no, not the biggest. We're probably the smallest in the sense we only take 20 students. So for
Oh
me,
yes, COVID.
no.
How did that hit when it came
Yeah,
to the
so
schools? then?
COVID obviously took us right down to the next intake. So during that time, while we were doing the feeding program, Chef B and myself would do online videos to teach the current students.
That's
so we were
quiet.
working 24/7, man.
That's
we
quiet.
were going through the night, packing boxes, putting a chef jacket with boxer shorts on, doing this like, hey guys, and this is how you do this, and da, da, da. So we were teaching our current kids online so that they weren't doing nothing. And so we tried to adapt all of that, and then eventually started phasing back to normal, where they started coming back to school, which was all good. And then we decided, well, we're going to keep on with this feeding program, and that's where it went. But what it taught me as well, Jesus, you can't teach online cooking. I mean, God, I see these guys saying, hey, I've got a 6 months diploma online cooking. It's like,
How did you do that, boy?
come on, you know. And so God bless you if you do that, but that's just for me as a chef, it
Doesn't work out.
Doesn't
for you.
work.
I think what's also important to note is that what you've achieved is the aspirational end goal that we want to almost instill in the youth that we want to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what we were trying to achieve is maybe like a little tour or demo or showcasing of the facility at some stage as well.
Yeah, we did.
Because what
Yeah.
it does for them, it also opens their mind up and see what's possible and hear your story from disability to where you are right now.
Yeah. Absolutely. As I say, you know, Byron and Debs and myself, we're in this for the long run, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna call Byron up now.
I don't need to be. I wrote and being dyslexic, I've got a cookbook. I wrote a cookbook in 2014. I mean, how's that? And if all goes well, Penguin Books. Remember me? Remember? Yes, Penguin. Yeah. June next year, we'll write my second one if all goes well. And don't forget me. Okay. So.
Do you have one? It's at the back.
Here we go. Sense test. Look how nice I looked in 2014.
I
thought it was yesterday.
Yeah, there we go. I'm going to put this up front.
So how's that, guys? With my disability, just shows you what you can achieve if you want.
A book.
If I had a kid that had a disability, would you be open to me coming to your restaurant and having something to eat and you just having a chat with my son?
With absolute. You know what? I have more pleasure speaking to people who need help than these privileged kids that beep 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 beep.
Yeah, it was like
That's a nice choice of word there.
Bring it back.
No, it's just as a parent, you always like, because I work with disabled kids and I've got a disabled kid. You know, sometimes the biggest fear that you've got is that what's going to happen to your kid.
Yeah.
And hearing your story, I mean, it's always best for any child just to see you actually. The podcasts are great, but I mean, you got a restaurant that looks like a playground for any kid. So to bring a kid through and just actually experience it and actually see you and see what's happening. I mean,
with absolute pleasure, you know, even if he wants to come and shadow for a day and just check it out.
Shadow for a year, maybe? Don't even take on kids at shadow.
I would like to come and shadow as well.
Yeah, because
and taste. But Byron?
Yes, sir.
But before, as Byron's walking up, I understand you have something called a Peking duck that you have to order like 2 years in advance or something.
48 hours, you color blacks always exaggerate.
So this is Byron, and you are the?
I am the sous chef lecturer at Sense of Taste and sous chef at Urban Playground. Yeah.
Oh man.
And you come from?
I come from Lotus River, Grassy Park.
Oh, me bro.
I've worked with chef for 10 years.
Wow.
I used to travel public transport to get to work every single day.
Respect.
And hustled all the way through. I have my own house, I have my own car. Just because I wanted to do it. I wanted to be at work, I wanted to be around my bosses, I enjoyed cooking and I always learn. Chef always teaches me every single day. And like you guys said, the reaction that we give and the energy we give, it's not faked. It's I want to be here. I come here so that I can enjoy myself. I want to be with my team. I don't take an off day because it's by choice. When I'm at home, I miss my staff, I miss my people, I miss my bosses.
Both of us, we off on a Sunday. The rest of the time we're here.
Wow.
But would you say if you found your sense of purpose, there's no restriction or limitation as to what you would actually give for that sense of purpose?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not very religious or I'm spiritual. I believe in I'm very believe in karma and things like that. And what you give is what you get back. I am so blessed that at 55 I pick up a pan and I cook food and I'm as happy as the day when I first cooked that plate of food.
Wow, that's amazing.
And to me, and you know, and Byron can agree with me. It's like, how many of your friends say I hate my job? And the worst to me is they say my boss doesn't respect me. And I say to them, what do you mean he doesn't respect me? Oh, he never thanks me. Or I said, he doesn't need to, he pays you a salary. If you do over and above that, he's going to thank you and he's going to recognize you. And Chef B did exactly that. You know, so it's not, I don't want to sound like, hey, I've given him whatever he's got. He worked for it and he's earned it. So it's a two-way situation. So it's not like, yes, now he owns his own building, his own flat, and he has a brand new car, but it's because he's put in. He's sweating with me. We bled together, you know.
No, that's respect.
And that's what life's about. You know, don't just assume it's going to happen.
So this is the face we saw, and he was just like, "Hey guys, you here?" And I was like, "Oh, like I feel so welcome." But it felt good because it felt like, and like I was saying, it's
authentic.
If you want an authentic Cape Town restaurant, Urban Playground. I've been to a few. I'm not going to talk about the food, but this just felt like I'll come here again. I'll order whatever because the
vibe.
Like, okay, the price doesn't, because the atmosphere, and I think that's something you can't fake.
No, you can't fake.
You can't fake atmosphere. That's just good.
Authenticity.
And the thing is, that's why when we, and Chef never says this, I knew the minute that front wall came out, I knew it wasn't going to be something small. Front wall came out, Debs and myself looked at each other and we were like, okay, let's just go with it, let's just go.
No one understood my picture, because I was like, they were like, we've got this shitty little building, how are we going to create it?
Well, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's just...
Well, look, it's testament to the fact that you had to work 3 times harder for anything, because it gives you 3 more options that no one else would have seen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, and it drives my wife crazy, I will not stop until I get it. I am so stubborn, man. If I want something, I will achieve it. I will get it and I'll make
stubbornness.
it.
We can shake hands here.
Can we see Debs? Can we see you? Just for, so this is the wife of
Peter, celebrity
and he supports
chef.
his team, probably his best friend. So yeah.
Yeah, I would never. I mean, the book, my recipe, she helped me write it. The second book, same thing. So our credit is it's a team.
Awesome. Now you can see it.
Like I said, one team, one dream.
No, it's amazing. One time. Mad respect. So I
we-
think, yeah.
Yeah, we've got like 3 minutes because I know load shedding is gonna hit. It's authentic South African, just as the restaurant.
Just keeping with the theme.
It's becoming as normal as a braai.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like,
should we have
oh,
load
okay.
shedding or should we have a braai?
I think you're actually more surprised when you got electricity. It's like, something's not right
What's
here.
happening? Like, oh, okay, somewhere.
Yeah, what's going on here?
My worst is you wake up in the middle of the night, all the lights are on. It's like, "Gee, what happened? You know?
No, it's a
So
common.
what do you advise I order now? Because I'm gonna order something. I need to take something home. I'll order something from your restaurant. I need to eat.
You know what, mate? It's all good. Depends what you feel like. Do you eat pork?
Peking
I
duck.
The ice vine is like, it's the best in town.
Okay.
But it's enough that you're going to eat it for breakfast and lunch tomorrow as well. But it's amazing.
Okay, then let's get those then. That sounds like a plan.
The Asian pork belly is beautiful.
Can we not
The what?
reduce the options,
Sticky
please?
pork pizza.
And one of my creations, we've got the snail ravioli. It's ravioli, but inside is garlic and chili.
I think you
snail.
should stop with all the options right now because it becomes a problem.
And more exciting, guys out there, I'd say next Friday, our new menu will come out as well.
Okay.
Is
Awesome.
there a launch party for that?
So we have for the launch.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should.
I heard food. That's all I heard was food.
So, yeah, we got like, and
Yeah.
apparently
So-
ESCOM is quite on
Yeah,
time.
quite
Yeah?
sharp. So just, I mean, this is our first of many of these things that
Yes,
we're going to be doing
definitely.
together.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd just really like to thank you guys for making time to come out and chat to me and to Evan and to Byron. And I think together we are going to make a huge difference and let people out there know with disabilities there are options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Support is key, man.
Check, thanks.
Support is key.
Awesome speaking to you guys. Thank you very
It
much.
was lovely having you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this Friday. This is the chef himself, Peter Ayud. Urban Playground, Sense of Taste, awesome things. Come and check it out in Maitland, Cape Town. Mark, any last words?
Yeah. Be more, do more. Salute.
And last words from you, chef?
Be kind.
Okay.
Not
Love
much,
and-
but be kind.
Yeah.
Mine, as I say, love reciprocates love. What you give, as you were saying, is what you're going to get. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a good week and we will see you next week.
Gonna give it to you.